Hello and welcome everyone again to another video, and in today's video we have a new season, new teams, new top teams for you guys, so you can use them in the Open Great League, because today's video is about the top teams or the best teams in the Open Great League for season 15. So without further ado, let's go and just talk about the meta Pokemons. The meta hasn't changed a lot, but there are like 2 or 3 Pokemons that became way more stronger than they used to be. And the first Pokemon that actually got a huge buff is Azumarill. You know, like, but was Azu ever bad? No, Azu has always been a great Pokemon in the Open Great League, and now it's even better. Why? Bubble got a buff, huge buff, and Azu was already slightly off meta. Like, it was an anti-meta pick. You use it as like a Medisable counter. But now with the nerf to, what did they nerf? Again, they nerfed Breaking Swipe, they nerfed Medi. Medi, you used to beat Azu in the 0 with the Psychic. Now Medi is forced to run Dynamic Punch because Psychic has just became bad due to the nerf. So that means Medi can no longer even beat Azu in the 0. What else did they nerf? They removed... So with the nerf to Medi, that just made Azu even better, because you no longer lose the 0 shield, and the 0 shield is very important in some cases, especially when you swap in Azu, because some matchups they intentionally swap in Medi to play the 0, force you to shield once. Let's say, I'm not sure, was it the one on the 0? But regardless, whatever that shield scenario is, you have to go down a shield to win the matchup against Medi. And now, if you do that, they always like intentionally do that to bait out your Azu and then farm it down with something like Lantern or Superior. Plus, since the nerf to Medi, Lantern now is straight much even better, because Lantern and to Medi, it's a scuffed matchup where Medi has to land the Psychic. Now they no longer land Psychic and they are forced to run Dynamic Punch. So baiting is no longer... Not baiting, they no longer get the defensive drop, which plays a huge role in the mirror, because if you land the Psychic, you get the debuff. You can prevent them from getting a second Thunderbolt, I think, in the 0, which is huge. So Lantern just straight became way better, and they buffed Talonflame. So that's another reason why Azu has just became too strong. They buffed Talonflame, they increased the energy that Incinerate does by 4, which is huge. Like, that's increasing the energy by 1 damage per turn, which is a lot. Wait, did they increase energy or turn? Regardless, they buffed fire Pokemons as well, which make water Pokemons even better. But if water Pokemons are too good, that means one Pokemon is too great as well, which is Superior. And that's why you see it in the here between safe swap and a closer. It's not a safe swap because there is some Talonflames out there, but it's a good counter swap. It's a good closer as well. Some people might say it loses to Gligar. The Gligar matchup, trust me, is bad for both. You don't want to be Gligar behind energy against Superior. And for Superior, you also don't want to be behind energy into the Gligar. And it's not a bad matchup. You always can force them to shield, especially if they are Shadow Gligar. So those 3 Pokemons has just became massively had gotten way better. Azu, Superior, and Lantern, because of the stuff that they beat has become better. Okay, which make Registeel even better in the current meta. So yeah, you know, so like you buffed some stuff, then their counters became good, then what counters they counters also became good. It's like a circle, right? That's what we call the RPS, rock paper scissor, because one beat the other and the other lose to the one before. And let's just talk about the main Pokemons. And as always, I divide them into leads, safe swaps, closers. And there is some 3 Pokemons on top that they are just slightly close to be meta. And I'm missing one Pokemon, so let me just put it. Yeah, can you guess which Pokemon I just added? Yeah, you are right. Whiscash. I'm sure you didn't even pay attention. But hey, everyone gets here, everyone wins. So, good leads. Deoxys Defense has just become the better counter user in the entire game. Why? Well, Deoxys Defense has always been a decent counter user, but the problem is that Medi was stronger against the current meta that existed and the double steel A/Lantern, because Lantern beats DD while Lantern loses to Medi. But now with the Medi nerf, DD has become even better because it beats Azu and it doesn't lose hard to Superior, just basically Psycho Boost and then Dip. Toxapex might become meta. We don't know yet because I'm just assuming if people are using Azu, Medi, DD, all these stuff lose to Toxapex. If the people use Venusaur, lose to Toxapex. Talonflame. Talonflame is known for being the ultimate lead Pokemon because you just lead it and you just either Brave Bird then Dip, or you just 2-shield and just keep incinerating, and you will get your shields back because your fast move after you boost is just going to become like extremely hard hitting. Gligar has been always great. I don't know with the buff to Azu that will Gligar be as relevant. I don't think so because meta is out. Medi is out, and that was the main reason why Gligar was too good because every team has Medi, Licky, and Umbreon. 2 of those 3, and Gligar has a neutral play against all of these and beats Medi pretty hard. Alolan Sandslash. I think Alolan Sandslash will fall out of the meta, thank God, because this Pokemon is just so cringe and I hate it and I don't like it. And I don't know why it became meta. It became meta because people are just running stuff that lose to A-Slash. Is there anything here I didn't talk about? Venusaur. Venusaur has never been bad. It's always just one step behind the meta, but it beats everything in the meta if you play it correctly. Like as an example, did you guys know that Shadow Venusaur can beat Shadow Alolan Sandslash in the 2 if you land Frenzy, just Vine Whip all the way down? That's an example. Why Venusaur would be good? Because technically people are going to be running Azu, Licky, Lantern, Superior. All of those 4 get destroyed by Venusaur. Safe swaps. Licky has always been the best ideal safe swap. Licky and Sableye. You could say Umbreon, but Umbreon always fall off if there is Charmers in the meta, but Sableye never fell off. Licky has always been great, except during the Noctowl meta, but it wasn't bad, trust me. Because, okay, Pelipper. Pelipper was too good last season, but it wasn't as good to be meta relevant. But now with the buff to the fire Pokemons and stuff like Whiscash, stuff like Azu, Pelipper might become the best neutral Pokemon in the entire meta, as long as you don't see a Lantern, because Lantern is just the ultimate nightmare for Pelipper. Umbreon, too good, with the one exception that it just has no play against Carbink. So if the opponent has Carbink, you just put it top left and queue into another match, trust me. Glodzire might actually become better than the current existence in the Great League meta, and become one of the best safe swaps, because if the meta is Azu, Superior, Lantern, and stuff that lose to ground or poison, Glodzire might become one of the best safe swaps. It lacks the fast move pressure, but stuff like Umbreon don't even have fast move pressure, but they are great Pokemons. Dugong. I don't think Dugong will ever be bad. This Pokemon you can just debuff your opponent to the oblivion. And all of these Pokemons might lose to one Pokemon, which is Carbink. Carbink has just... the value for Carbink has just been increasing, becoming better, which make me feels that Niantic want Carbink to be meta, which I hate. I hate rock Pokemon. Rock type Pokemon are just extremely cringe, and they are so bad, and they are so annoying, and they are always RPS, because rock either destroy you or you get destroyed by you. It's not even, there's no middle ground, like, because people run fighters, people run charmers, people run water, people run counter users and ground. And all of these, that just destroys rock. Rock lose to the ultimate, to the most of the meta types, stuff like ground fighting and ground and water. Basically, ground and water will be like one of the best types in the game, due to like their resistances and super effectiveness, what they do super effective to and what they resist, and those will always be meta. And then like you have a type like rock that is always shy to become meta because it's just bad against the good types. So Carbink benefits a lot from having fairy subtyping, so it's the only rock type probably in the game that can beat the fighters. You just need to land a Moonblast and you can win. And we move to Lantern, which has become significantly better. Okay, Lantern was struggling in one match, in the one neutral match, which is the Medi. It will no longer happen. Well, they will be running Dynamic Punch now because Psychic is nerfed. But if they run Dynamic Punch, you can just put Azu, Lantern in one team, and you lead something like, I don't know, Pelipper or Talonflame. You cannot do Talonflame. You have to lead something that beats the opposing grass and opposing water. What beats water and grass? Water and grass. Poison. Yo, just play Nidoqueen, I guess. No, you lose to the opposing Lantern. Just play It's a Spark, and then you will win. And Swampert, I think Swampert has always been good, but the last meta wasn't as good because Quag was slightly better, but Quag is still not as good. Like, both Pokemon are struggling. Like, if you're gonna use a ground Pokemon in Season 16, the previous one, you rely on something like Gligar. And now, there is a new ground Pokemon that get a massive buff, which is Whiscash. So Whiscash's problem was always that you need to land the Blizzard to win any neutral game. And if they shield the Blizzard, you just lose the entire game because you just wasted 80 or 75 energy on something that got shielded. And you don't have fast move pressure to justify going for the nuke. So now it has a Scald, which also get a buff. I think it gets Scald, right? And now it debuffs even more. So if you land the debuff, you can just go straight bait after. Whiscash destroys Lantern. It destroys Carving because it has bulk, unlike Swampert and Quagsire, where they are sometimes forced to shield because they don't have enough bulk to sometimes have the risk of calling a nuke and still surviving enough to throw enough moves to KO them, even if they don't shield the nuke. So Quag and Swampert has been shy to do that, but now Whiscash can do that. Diggersby is a spy. It's not a spicy Pokemon. It's a bulky Pokemon, but the problem is it's not helping. Like, it needs better than the current moves. I said it before. Give it Ice Punch. Stop giving it nonsense random moveset. Give it Ice Punch. Okay. Having Fire Punch plus Ground literally is redundant. What Fire Punch do super effective too, usually Ground do super effective too, with the exception of Grass. Okay, so if you're gonna do cover grass, that's why you have Ice Punch. Okay, so you have a ground that hit everything that does not fly or not grass, and then you have Ice Punch to hit the flyers and the grass. Okay, so Fire Punch is bad coverage for the ground Pokemon. So if you're gonna give it a good coverage, you give it Ice Punch. It's like, oh, actually, that would be too OP. You know what's OP? Carping. Why didn't they nerf it? You know what's OP? Lantern. How about that? Okay, so we talked about the Pokemons. There is one Pokemon that I haven't mentioned, which is... No, not Vigoroth. Vigoroth is actually might be good because now it has Rock Slide, which help it to beat Trevenant. No, not Trevenant. I think it's Trevenant. It helped it to beat... I'm not sure about the Trevenant. It helped it to beat Sableye. Now Vigoroth can beat Sableye. And here's another matchup, which is a flyer. You destroy the flyers. You beat Talonflame because all you need to do is just land one Rock Slide and you should be good to go. And you know what? Also get a buff, Poliwrath. Its Scald has higher chance now to debuff the opponent. And there is Toxicroak, which has access to Shadow Ball. So Shadow Ball now gives Toxicroak ultimate coverage. And here's the situation. It's like people ask me about the moveset. Usually, whatever Shadow Ball hit, Sludge also hit, but Shadow Ball hits more stuff than Sludge, with the exception of Dark. And I think that's the only exception, and that's why you have counter. Okay, so you have counter for the Dark, and then you have Shadow Ball to threaten the Psychic, which destroys Toxie and the Ghosts. So now you have a high chance to almost one-shot Medi. I think you do one-shot Medi because you have some crazy high attack. So let's go and talk about the new top teams in the season 17. That's why you guys are here. So the teams. So we will be talking about what I'm expecting to be meta. So most of the time, focus on the first two Pokemons. The third Pokemon is optional. It's up to you. Okay, those, the lead and the second Pokemon are like usually the core, and the third is up to you. You can make it AVB or you keep it balanced. I like to keep stuff balanced. Okay, I am someone who genuinely prefer balanced teams over AVB and these. I'm not a big fan of AVB teams. I know they are easier to play, but with balanced teams, especially for me, since I make content, it's easier to teach people to play. It's easier for other people to grasp, especially when the majority of the viewers are like around 2200 until 2700. ABC teams are usually better for them, easier for them to play, because there is a very clear safe swap and there is a counter swap. Well, with the ABB teams, you have to be fast on the swap and these stuff. So the first team that I am expecting to be meta is Azu, Lickitung, and Pelipper. Those aren't exactly the top 3 PvPoke, because the top 3 PvPoke, let me put it, PvPoke hasn't updated the website yet, but ranking, I think it's on Twitter. So the top 3 PvPoke is Okay, let me get it. Okay, it's almost there. So here is the PV poke. Number 1 is Azu, number 2 is Carbink, number 3 is Medi, Mantine, Pelipper, Registeel, Swampert, Toxapex. So yes, Azu as expected, it's number 1, Carbink is number 2, Medi is number 3, but you run Dynamic Punch, you don't run Psychic. Psychic is bad now, which means you get destroyed by stuff like Pelipper, because if you land the Psychic, you can 2 shield farm all the way down. And with this team here, with Azu, Licky, it's just a general core where like you don't beat anything pretty hard, but you don't lose any hard matchups to anything. The third is up to you. Could be Pelipper, could be Mantine, could be also Superior, okay? Could be Lantern, and you'd be like ABA Water. Please don't do this. An alternative to that, which is a team I am expecting, like two Pokemons I'm expecting to be around, which is Pelipper, Registeel. Pelipper is known for being always paired with a Steel that lose to Grass, and then you have the Pelipper to beat the Grass. With this team, you struggle against Lantern, so I wouldn't keep Medi. I would keep a harder answer to Lantern. But here, if you see a Lantern, you go Registeel. Registeel wins the 0 if they are Water Gun. Medi can still beat, but you don't safe swap Medi. Medi now is not a good safe swap because it lost its unique coverage with Psychic, Ice Punch. You pretty much have damage to hit everything. Now if they swap in stuff like Pelipper, it's a hard loss. The top 3 team, which I always give you guys like, okay, these are the top 3 PvPoke team, which is Azu, Carbink, Medi. This team struggles a lot against Superior because you don't have any Pokemon that beats it. So that's why you have to replace one of those 3 with something that hard beat Superior. Could be Talonflame. Well, no, then you lose to Lantern. Maybe we need a grass flying Pokemon. So yeah, it could be actually Jumpluff. You know, also what? Tropius. Yeah, they could actually be used as an anti-meta Pokemon. The Medi Dragonair Basti team, which was the team that I don't want to say by Stop Alcatraz because he didn't create it, but he hit number 1 with it. But I'm gonna say it because there is a person I want to tilt, the one who made it. So you can just replace the Basti with the Carbink, and then you have an ultimate RPS team. You win lead, and then you just RPS from there. A team I used to run, which is the Venusaur, Sableye, and Pelipper. FP6 used to run it with G-Fisk, but G-Fisk is bad, and I like running it with Sableye because Sableye is just my favorite Pokemon in the Great League. With G-Fisk, you always have better coverage, but now it's basically 3 hard counters to Medi. If they have a Medi, you just lose. Yes, you said 3 hard counters. Yes, Venusaur counters Medi. If you are on the same energy, you beat Medi, you destroy Medi. And yeah, unless like the 0 shield, but hey, you're gonna shield, okay? Like who's gonna shield? Sableye? No, you're just gonna shield Shadow Venusaur because you're gonna run Shadow 1. But yeah, with this team, 3 counters to Medi, but Medi isn't as relevant, so you use the Sableye to bait out the Lantern, okay, if they have it. And if they have a Fire lead, you go to Sableye. If you don't see a Lantern, you still have to keep this alive, and you use Sableye to bait it out. A team that I will be using, okay, I had a dream once that to run double dragons in the Open Great League, which was impossible to do for one reason, that Medi, Azu were all over the place, stuff that destroys the dragon. But now they aren't as much, they don't exist as much. So I want to run Double Dragon. I think Superior makes a good pair with those. You could even run Venusaur, but I like Superior for the extra bulk because those 2 lacks the bulk. Neither of those dragons are my favorite. My favorite dragon to run is Hackmo, but Hackmo does not have good charge moves. Unlike Arctibax, which has an amazing charge move. Now Arctibax has Icy Wind, which is amazing. A team that I had an idea, if you want an ABB Andy and you want to run ABB double flyers, you have Venusaur, which beats everything in the current meta. You have Talonflame and Pelipper. If you see an A-slash, you go to Pelipper, and then you try to get it as low, then up to you. You can decide from there. The Clodsire teams I saw in the meta were like Mandy, Clodsire, Medi. This team won't exist technically because you triple lose to Azu. So you have to run something like Charjabus. Why Charjabus? Because it beats the grass. Yes, it does beat the grass because you outpace the grass and you beat Azu. Swamp it against Azu in a neutral matchup, where if you land the EQ, you can just win. A solid team. This looks like some NCK team, I swear. So replace this with Goon and you have an NCK team. If you guys know who NCK or not, do you guys know NCK? So Talonflame with Licky and Lantern. Talonflame, Talonflame Lantern is supposed to be one of the new best codes with the new update. Licky is there as a safe swap. You can put Licky in any team and it will work. Today's video is going to be slightly long. Sorry guys, I need to talk about lots of teams. This team I ran last season. I think you could still run it. You could replace Gligar with any flyer. You could do Pelipper. You could do Talonflame. And I have a video in the channel. My new meta team is in the Great League Pokemon Go PvP. And this is the thumbnail. Basically, Vino, Reggie with Gligar. The team struggles against Talonflame, but you have to make some adjustment. That's why I said you have to run like some Mantine or Pelipper in the back. There was a team that is, I think, the Vroom Vroom team, which is Venusaur, Shadow Venusaur, Shadow A/, Shadow Sableye. You could run the same team, but I think you need to run Superior for the... You need like some extra bulk. You could still run Venusaur though. Triple Charm, if you guys lack the skills, you could always just run Triple Charm. Trust me, it works. It's a good team. Just double shield one of the Charmers and don't shield the other two. Shield the Shadow one. Run Shadow Grumble, Shadow A9 and Wiggles. Because trust me, Wiggles now has Icy Wind. You can just 2-shield through most of the stuff. DD Double Ice is still a team. It still work. And the problem with this team is Lantern. Was Lantern. Still Lantern. Okay? Just dodge the Lantern. The Triple Counter team is the new version of the Triple Counter team, which was made by Walwell in Season 2, which was DD, Vigoroth, Obstagoon. So now you can run DD, Vigoroth with either Toxie or Poirath. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you so much everyone for watching. I know I made this is 23 minutes, but hey, we had lots of stuff to talk about. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching to the end of the video. And I will be making about the Retro Cup maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna be one day late because I just came from work. It's 8 and I've been outside for like almost 13 hours, so I have no energy to finish and I still had lots of stuff to do. So thank you so much everyone for watching to the end of the video. See you in the next one. Peace.